All right, lead in. 1, 2, 3. Welcome to the Starting Over podcast. I am your host, Edward Shelton, and this is the show in which we look at the strategies, tactics, and mechanics behind the game of Heroclix. It's like almost midnight, and the main reason I'm recording this late is because it is hot as fire outside during the day. And I mean, you already can hear the fan, but I had the fan on like blast plus the air conditioner, and that's just a bit too much white noise that becomes really, really annoying for you all. So just had the fan going. I know there's some people that can detect it, some people who don't. That's just how it goes. But yeah, it's been really interesting. Got some positive feedback from the last few shows. Big up to Will Holland. Yes, go Slinger starters. All those who wanted a Slinger starter, we need to start a thread somewhere on AC Realms, like give us a Slinger starter. Also, to the cat that has Poison Ivy, don't want to shout out your name because you sent the PM to me. Thanks a lot for hitting me up and wishing me well, and hope the Poison Ivy feels better. Oatmeal to the face. If you put it on your face, the diabetes man doesn't threaten you. Anyway, today, what we're going to go into is we're going to pry into some of my, if I can even say it, private tech. This is some things like I put out on the show, like all my finished stuff. Like if you see it, or let me rephrase it, if you hear it or you read me talk or read about me talking about something, usually I've tested it. Usually I played a game against it. 90% of the time I can tell you like the ins and outs of how it works. But what I'm about to get in today is a little bit more raw stuff. And a lot of it is still in the I think this could work phase. And the main reason I'm throwing this out is for several reasons. Reason number one, there was a listener a while ago who said like, yo man, I'm gonna go with me and my son to Gen Con. And he was an officer in the military, because I keep getting emails that say non-confidential. So I want to help him out and pretty much everybody else out on their last bit of stint of preparation for a Gen Con or Dragon Con or Realms Open Championship series that is upcoming. Whatever major tournament is coming to you, or even you're saying to yourself, hey man, I got a big 500-point tournament, I want to pull something a little bit under the radar on people. This is going to be the show. Now, I'm going to say with this is all raw tech. This is not polished tech. So there are going to be very rough edges. And I don't mind y'all calling me out on that, but at least give me a little mercy in saying like, yo, okay, your understanding is this deep. Okay, so here's the next level, or you can't really do all that. Okay. One thing that I've been fooling around with for a while is General Zod, the common General Zod. I like the chase rare General Zod, but I like him more for like big 1,000-point games, which I haven't had a real chance to like play him in one. But the common General Zod is a very powerful figure in a 300-point meta. And I talked a little bit about it in my review of pretty much the Man of Steel set. But the thing about General Zod is like at 125 points, you get 2 target, 6 range, energy explosion starting off. And I think you get running shot. I don't have my HC Realms up, so bear with me. Yep. Yeah, you have running shot, 9 movement, and you have 3 base damage. You're not really having a lot of damage reduction. The big deal with Zod is you're looking at him as a very, very under the radar option. No one's really looked at a lot of the Man of Steel stuff. A. B. Most of the Man of Steel stuff is a little, it's not really that awesome. And then C. Everyone's looking at Fear Itself and Justice League, and some things from Titans. No one's really looking at the micro sets. So there's some really good stuff there to jack people up. Zod is a prime candidate for 2 options. Option number 1, I'm going to piss off my opponent by playing the Infinity Gauntlet, or B, I'm going to piss off my opponent by playing the Utility Belt. Now, you've noticed me saying, like, the Utility Belt is the fast run and gun option, and Zod is open for that, and he can be TK'd, he can be carried, you can do all sorts of things with him. At the other end, because of Zod's fanatical followers defensive ability, you sort of really want to maintain that, and that's a really big thing. And so being able to now have a bunch of cheap pogs in the meta surrounding him with pogs that are spread out so they can't be energy exploded is a big deal. Because now you can put in a whole bunch of little cheap guys and have them be near Zod or around Zod, and he can just be like, nah, I'm going to fodder off to these other people, and I'm going to just keep taking action, and pretty much you force your opponent down a pathway in which they have to grind you down. And they will have to deal with Zod last. And that's the one thing I like about the Infinity Gauntlet tech. You bust it out, everyone's going to sort of laugh at you like, Infinity Gauntlet, you're dumb, don't you know that I can do 15 bazillion things with the Utility Belt to kill you? And you're like, yeah, I just was wanting to have some fun. Zod under the yellow sun, ha. And by the time they grind through your whole army, and it finally dawns on them that you have +2 stats or +1 stats, and you can name a power or use any gem, then they're going to be like, oh, okay. Does this take on the Justice League really easily? Not really, because of so much stuff that it avoids. The Justice League just ignores. But Zod, if you're dealing with a non-T-base tournament, with either Utility Belt or the Infinity Gauntlet, is great. And I've talked about the the Infinity Gauntlet a lot. The biggest thing with the Utility Belt that makes it strong, it's not just the low points, it's the fact that Zod is grounded, and then if you get the grapple hook, it allows you to go up on elevation and make melee attacks, which is pretty good. Also, the rebreather would give you like ghetto hypersonic speed. And there's certain characters, I think it's like a Tuma, that if you plan it out, then you can get your Zod all over the map and do crazy stuff. I like combining Zod with Jinx, mainly because Jinx gives us barrier for 1 turn. So if our opponent is rushing down and trying to blast us or whatever, they're under the illusion that, I'm just going to shoot Zod. Or, I'm just going to blow up all your fodder. Well, buddy, you're going to have to get past the barrier. And I can push and do it again. And I have super senses. So, that makes it frustrating for a non-precision strike attacker to come down on you. So, that's the big thing. And so, when you look at it overall, is Zod the best killer, fastest killer? No, he's not. But if you find a way to give him, ranged combat expert, or give him an outwit, or get him a couple of perplexes, he becomes ridiculously strong for a very low amount of points. And if we look back to a year ago now, at our Marvel 10th and DC 10th meta, what was going on? Cheap dudes doing crazy damage for low cost. Okay, and if you definitely look at Zod, one of the best things about Zod is this: he's a sharpshooter. He can do ranged attacks when close up, and he ignores opposing characters for line of fire. He can always get his target. Okay, Yes, he's unique, and I'm glad he is, because I don't want to see an army of these suckers spreading out, mastermind fodder. Now, I know some of you might be saying, like, hey, dude, Pogs, Bruce Banner, awesome, yeah. And that could be awesome with having Bruce Banner into Ozzy Hulk. And that's some additional tech that you can also think about. But I really don't like that as much as just having a bunch of Pogs and eventually letting the fodder die, and then you have a powered up top dial Zod. All kneel before Zod. That's what's up. Another character, a piece of tech that I've worked on, and this one I'm letting out of the bag mainly because I feel at this stage a lot of people they're saying a lot of junk that really isn't true about the whole situation with Justice League and Ghost Rider. And a lot of the commentary right now is you either have a Ghost Rider team or you have the Justice League. And I don't think that's true at all. I think the Ghost Rider team is nice, but it has a very distinct disadvantage. Several distinct disadvantages. Disadvantage number one: if you face anybody with outwit, you can really hose over Ghost Rider. Okay, it's like, oh, guess what? You went after this main guy. Okay, cool. I have outwit. I outwit this thing. I light you up for a high amount of damage. Okay, or I take away your charge. That's a big deal. If I take away his charge, he loses his mobility. You can't use transporter and flurry. Okay, so that's a big deal. The other thing with Justice League is, I think the last few major tournaments has taught us this. Most people aren't thinking about solo adventure. And in all honesty, only the good players are thinking about solo adventure. And I know I've debated this with good players and awesome players and pro players, is this: Justice League should never lose to a Ghost Rider team after all that's gone on. And the main reason why is a Justice League team should know automatically to pop off Batman. Point blank. They should know pop off Batman. By popping off Batman, you have an outwit. He's away. The Ghost Rider team can do all it wants. And then you just outwit and light them up. And then, Ghost Rider is going to push to attack. All right, whatever, cool, you take pushing. There's once you start factoring in, I pop off this turn, I pop off Ghost Rider. Next turn, not pop off Ghost Rider, pop off Batman. Next turn, I pop off Green Lantern. The turn after that, I pop off Wonder Woman for exploit weakness. I don't take any Mystics damage on my team dial. And if you kill my team dial, guess what? Larry, Curly, and Mo, and the extra is still there. If I am able to survive and pop off 4 of the out of the 7 characters, yeah, you cleaned up my main dial, but technically I am still in the game because I still have figures on the board. That's something that people don't think about. But anyway, sort of going back to my tech sort of takes a middle road. And it says, all right, I'm going to use a team dial, not the Justice League, but I'm using it to beat the Justice League and also the Ghost Rider team. And I thought a long time, really long and hard, about should I release this or not. And in all honesty, this is like the strongest team that I've had so far. And I'm going to explain to you how it works and why it can take on the Justice League and why it can take on a Ghost Rider team. Now, you have to understand this. All of this is element of surprise. If my opponent knows what's coming, they can plan around it. Just like if Justice League knows about Ghost Rider, they can plan around it. Okay? Same thing with the Ghost Rider team. The Ghost Rider team is in less of a predicament to do so, just mainly for the fact, for lack of a better word, they don't have as much diversity. in options as the Justice League has. So just plain God honest truth. Okay, so the team involves using villains for hire, and you have 2 builds, and the builds come down to what you're most comfortable with. Build number 1 uses the Thule Society Priest and the Ray with Young Justice. The second build uses Secret and Rick Jones. And you're like, oh my gosh, Dark Logos, you're on that stuff, man. But it works like this. If you're going against a Justice League team or a Ghost Rider team, if you looked at either of those 2 lineups, what's the first character you go kill? And just pause. I want you to give your first reaction. Who is the first character your Heroclix instincts tell you to go kill? All right, and I'm gonna try to play a mind game here. Really hard. Your instincts tell you to go after villains for hire because it's obviously a tempo team. Okay. Now here's the thing with villains for hire. All right, if they're a wild card, I can copy a character, and in turn 1, I can pop off. Actually, I don't really pop him off turn 1, but I can if I feel threatened. I can pop off Deathstroke. Being able to pop off Deathstroke gives me so many options. It's not even funny. So let's play this out against the Justice League. A Justice League passes, okay, on turn 1. Normally, keeps their first turn immunity. All right, because they're like, I don't know what this does. This could do all sorts of things. They could possibly come and shoot me, which on some maps they can be threatening, but they can't really come and shoot you. I don't think they can get into range in my mind. Now, I could be wrong on that. On their 200-point dial. Yeah, I don't think they can get into range. They got 15 swing, technically. And then, yeah, so they got 15 swing. So there's certain problems with that. Anyway, so if you look at it, you're like, okay, we go in, we pop villains for hire really hard, and we just about KO them. Oh, okay, yeah, Justice League could one-shot villains for hire. Oh, nope, Young Justice kicks in because we're copying Young Justice. All right, now we're on the last click, and if you look at their dial, the asset dial, you have to roll on your first click at the end of your first turn because you have Deathstroke. If you land on Deathstroke and Osiris, any sort of Deathstroke and Osiris combination, or just mainly Osiris, you got money. Because pretty much the Justice League, for them to be in range to shoot you, have to be within your movement range to touch them. Okay, which is 10. You move up, and you can choose to exploit, but that would probably be the best one because you need to get past that impervious. First move up, hopefully you have an Osiris. Then you also get +1 attack, +1 damage with Deathstroke. You'll hit with a 13 attack with 6 damage onto an 18 or 19. Odds are in your favor with exploit. After you hit with exploit, you run up Secret or Ray or somebody next to, well, you hit again, and then the Justice League is pretty much like dead. But if they're not dead, and by some chance you miss, or they roll super senses or shape change or some other thing, you can get the Ray or the Thule Priest, not the Thule Priest, but Rick Jones or Secret next to the villains for hire, and the Justice League or Ghost Rider or whoever else it is can wail on them all day, and then the person adjacent to them will just take a click, one unavoidable damage. Now here's where it becomes even more interesting for some of you. What you do is, once you get to the part where that gap is closed, you can pop off I think it's Osiris or Deathstroke. Actually, you really sort of do want to pop off Deathstroke, because Deathstroke actually gives you the most amount of options for offense and support powers. But what happens is Deathstroke, because he's a wild card, will also copy villains, Young Justice, making it even harder for your opponent to kill him. Now you could say, well, what about Energy Explosion? What about this, that, and the other? Yeah. For Energy Explosion to appear, your opponent has to pop off Cyborg. And with Deathstroke on the field, that's most likely not going to happen. Let's just be honest. It's most likely not going to happen. Because the Justice League does not want to risk an outwit. Hold up, wait. Yeah, not Deathstroke on the field. I forgot Deathstroke is on his trait. He gives you outwit. That's why. I knew it was somewhere. Somewhere I got an outwit. On the mark. I think it's on the mark. But Deathstroke, he pops off. He has Battle Fury. I forgot. He has Battle Fury. And Super Senses and Toughness. But yeah, his little power doesn't kick in. So those are some. That's really the big tech. Now the thing is, the Ray tech works way better if you're dealing with what is it? The Watu Unspoken, Ray and Thule Priest. And the cool thing is the Thule Priest keeps taking all this damage, unavoidable damage, and then he gets on prob. And you probably get one or two probs before you say, yeah, it's time for the Thule Priest to die. I've had mixed bags with the Rick Jones and Secret, because Secret is really crappy. Like, I hate to say it. Like, it's just crappy. Rick Jones is awesome, and once he takes one damage, unavoidable damage, he's automatically activated, which is cool. And so now you have a Perplex. Now, him AEing into Captain Marvel or Guinness Vale, I found out, like, just save it for late game. Because you don't know how long you're going to need to just keep trying to save your villains for hire. So that's the best thing I can tell you. Now, why are you going to say, like, Dark Logo, so why have you been keeping this tech for so long? Well, I didn't want to have it out before Origin because I didn't want it to be part of the main meta thinking. Just pure and simple. The other thing that it comes down to is, given enough time, you can figure out, I can build this, and this other thing, and that beats the Justice League, and that beats, the Heroes for Hire tech, and it beats this. This is a middle of the road. You have a 50-50 to 60-40% chance of winning over your opponent. It's not absolute. It A, requires your opponent not to know what the heck is going on. B, follow upon common themes and Heroclix and common, for a lack of a better word, habits of players. And it really forces your opponent not to critically think too hard on what that team does, and then also not know Villains for Hire's dial. Okay, that is a biggest one I found. So I know a lot of you are going to be like, man, this tech is okay, it's not the greatest, I could see how this could go better. I understand. Trust me, I really, really understand. But so far, I found that with all the games that I've played, that this tech has actually done the best for me. And it forces, if you face a Ghost Rider team, they're sort of hosed. And here's the main reason why they're hosed. I take Mystics damage and I would die. Nope. It's look at the Young Justice ATA. I'll take a click on Rick Jones, or I'll take a click on Thule Priest. I'll take a click on the Ray, or I'll take a click on the Secret. Okay. I would take. You hit me with a free action. Take a click. You hit me with this whatever. I'll take a click. You do this other thing. Whatever. I take one click. Ghost Rider runs out of options so fast Because, yeah, I'll eat one unavoidable. Okay. But I'm doing 5 to 6, 7 damage back to him. He can't deal with that. He's dead. And then I just like, okay, I'll clean up your team when I get around to it. Okay, oh, Mystic, whatever. You know, and really, really look at that Ghost Rider team. Oh, I hit with the you know, you end up with a situation like, the Scarlet Witches can shoot you. Like, if they push, they have 6 range. I got 7 range on Villains for Hire. Oh, but he's going to use the extra action, and what if he has mind control, and mind control guys away? He has to get a lot of stuff off and get really, really close, and he has to use a lot of those free actions to set all this up. So there's a lot to think about. And I'm not saying against every Heroes for Hire build that you're going to be unstoppable, but definitely against Ghost Rider and 2 Scarlet Witches, you're not going to have too much of a problem with that. All right, moving on to some other tech, and I really do think this is. I talked about it, and the more I think about it, I feel like it has potential, but I think unfortunately it's a lot more limited than I want it to be. And that's really, I'm going back to Iron Man 3 set, Iron Man movie 3, Iron Man 3 movie set. There we go, coming out of my mouth. Is the War Machine and Iron Patriot tech, and that's not a duo. There's 2 separate figures. War Machine in particular, for after all the games I've played with him, I have learned this: that dog will hunt. Like, do not underestimate that, and definitely for the fact of the duo attack. Just being able to be stationary and pump out crazy damage. Some of what I'm about to say might seem like but I feel like he is a prime candidate for the utility belt, and running, a 1 object or a 2 object utility belt. Just saying like, hey, I have the not Suit of Sorrows, the Cape and Cowl, and I have the transmitter, so I can copy another team ability, or I have what is it? The rebreather, so I have a chance of getting transporter. Okay, if you are able to TK him at all, prep time him to +2. Once he clears, he'll have a 13 attack and 6 damage. Duo attack, just duo attack, because your first attack will do 6, your second attack will do 5. You've done 11 damage, and if you pick Outwit, your first attack did 6. And if, say 5 damage after all that doesn't kill them, means that you're fighting an old Heroclix. Okay? So, yeah, you're fighting something like pre-special powers of how long that dial is, okay? Or you're fighting one of the Pacific Rim things, which those suckers are crazy good. For their, like, if they fight themselves, that's fun. That looks like a ton of fun. But anyway, War Machine, like I said, is very strong. I think that his flexibility and his offense just creates this burst of crazy damage. Why would you say, like, okay, this is raw, not really that untested? Most of the teams I played them on were just for fun because I paid $20 for them. And really, just for the fact, I wanted to make him good, but I didn't want to be like, oh, I'm going to make him broken. Next up is the Iron Patriot. And the big deal with the Iron Patriot, I feel, is utilizing Bodyguard in big point games can be very strong. And you're looking at giving like characters like a Darkseid, super senses while Iron Patriot is adjacent. That is ridiculous. Oh, you killed all my pogs. Oh, I guess. Wow, that sucks. Bruce Banner, are you into Aussie Hulk yet? One more turn, boss. One more turn. Oh, gotta ride on these super senses. And Rhodey, I hope you can take a smack. Really, like I haven't heard too much talk about that. Also, running shot Psychic Blast is, at an 8 range is good. Could he have like Avengers Initiative and be awesome? Yeah, but that would bloat his points. But overall, I feel like he's one of those characters that can make very solid transitions. Now, what I don't like about him is that he's a ranged piece with combat reflexes. Makes no sense to me. But, oh well, so it goes. Another character out of that set I feel like I can use some of the tech is Pepper Potts. And Pepper Potts for a particular reason. Go back to the things I said about Zod. Oh, I have all this mastermind fodder and I have this support and I do these things and I create this crazy team. Ha ha ha, look at me, watch what I do. Take that a step further. Oh, you mastermind onto me. Okay. Oh, next turn I have a Psychic Blaster for 4 damage in 6 range. Hi, how you doing, buddy? That to me is the beauty of Pepper Potts, is that my opponent wants to get rid of that outwit in that perplex. And when I keep pushing her out there and like, what you gonna do about her? That live click kicks in with Extremist taking hold. I haven't really seen anybody really abuse it, and it's won me games, and I've seen very few people talk about it, and it is so strong. It is so strong. So definitely think about that in when you're combining Pepper Potts and Mastermind, because she doesn't have anything that says you can't Mastermind to her, and be mindful, like the next turn, your main goal is just to be like, I'm lighting that fool up. Also, you can combine support with that to heal. So like after they do the Psychic Blast, heal Pepper Potts back up, and so now when they try to hit Pepper Potts again, she's still going to go back on her live click. So those are just some things that like, oh wow, we didn't really think about that, and it's like, oh dude, when we really think about that, that's some broke stuff. Yeah. Another thing from I sort of worked on tech wise, and I've had some fun with, and some people might say, well, to an extent I'm repeating myself by bringing it up, is the Tony Stark from Iron Man movie 3, and the fact of all the stuff that he's able to do and be a good wild card on top of everything else becomes really, really, really ridiculous. One thing for you to actually think about is like looking through some of your older Spider-Man from a Web of Amazing Spider-Man characters, and then just seeing who you want to copy that ability of the Avengers Initiative with. With him having 6 range, and technically I think he has outwit enhancement. He's like perfect for so many little teams that I want to build. So just sort of make a place for him, and that's the cool thing about him, is that you can actually be very, very powerful to a lot of various different options that are out there in the meta, just for a pure fact of you have energy explosion, decent damage, and outwit. You provide enhancement, able to outwit through stealth, and when you start combining some other elements, it becomes really cool. I'm going to bring this up, and I feel, and again, this is raw tech, but in the light of pretty much all the new ATAs, going back and looking at Aldrich Killian is really essential. Now, no, I did ask on the rules forms. Pretty much, they have to start within 8 squares for his A New World is Dawning to take effect. But other than that, that's it. It doesn't require line of fire or anything else. So if you want to, truck up Aldrich Killian right on top of whoever and create this, 8 square radius, 16 square diameter, no ATA circle, you can. Now, why is this a big deal? This is a very big deal because this shuts down Young Justice. This shuts down Heroes for Hire. This shuts down the new Defenders TA, Offenders. I mean, so much it shuts down. It's not even funny. And the pure fact that no one's really looking at like playing Aldrich Killian, like 1 or even 2 of them, is a little bit disappointing. That it's just not up on the metasphere of, hey, this is how I kill a Ghost Rider team. And I'll say like this: if your venue has banned team dials, so you can't use my previous tech, oh my goodness, play Aldrich Killian. And there's a bunch of various different teams that he works well on. Like up front and personal, in all honesty, play Zod, Utility Belt, Pepper Potts, Aldrich Killian, Pogs, and somebody for Profit. Well, actually, you couldn't do all that, but yeah. Pogs, Pepper Potts, Aldrich Killian. If you miss, you'll just have Killian heal you. Oh, look, I have Hydra. Check this out. Oh, you went after Pepper and you tried to kill her and it didn't quite work out. Oh, okay, cool. Pepper takes damage. Psychic Blast. Heal Pepper back up. Oh, I'm Frail Pepper again. Please shoot me. So there's so much goodness with him. And you just create lots of pressure problems for your opponent that they just can't handle. And they'll have to outwit his power. But yeah, and now you might say like, hey man, Dark Logos, he only has it on click 3. Man, so what? Oh no, he has it on first click and click 3. I take that back. Yeah, so it's good stuff, man. Good stuff. I like my extremist brutes, but I still haven't found a way of making them good. Maybe Wolverine and the X-Men will grant me that wish. I know they can be good, and I've had so much like just fun privately with them, but I haven't found a way to make them really competitive. I want us to go back a bit, really far back, and I want us to look at something a little differently. Now, a lot of the tech, some of this is still pretty established. It's still pretty established. The one thing that I also have noticed lately is people have forgotten just about a lot of stuff from Batman. Just because, Man of Steel, Iron Man, Stealth is starting to get kicked in the nads again. It really is. But when you start looking back at, Deadly Mentor, I have you on my table, and I can't think of you. David Kane. David Kane right now will allow you to play a team in which I feel that if you look at David Kane in that person that is that he's mentoring as your damage, you have 150 points of just really good solid. If you pack in really good solid support, you have like almost 150, a little over 150 points worth of of good damage. And so here's some new figures that have come up that I think a lot of people haven't really looked at since he came out. First off is the Wolverine and the X-Men Magneto that's coming out soon. Really, really good values that you're pairing for 65 points. This one's more for giggles, but Scotty's Warbot is nothing to trifle with. Just for the fact you can get running shot, 11 attack, and 3 damage, and then that can be up to like a 12 attack and 4 damage. Can be really strong. And I think a lot of people are going to not think about that. Other one is Iron Man Mark 7 rookie version. Now you're starting to get into some interesting territory, mainly because Iron Man Mark 7 is a flyer, so you can carry around David Kane. Tony Stark is sort of cool from the set. Savin, no, I don't think David Kane is a soldier. Yep. So never mind. Because I thought he could benefit from the soldier thing. He's an assassin. Also, Dagger. Dagger is from Amazing Spider-Man. Is a pretty cool character that can benefit from it. Also, the Spider-Mans from the Chase Slinger Spider-Mans, those would actually be pretty good. I think most of them have range. No, Prodigy doesn't, and I know Ricochet does. But having Ricochet and Hornet sort of team up and do that's some pretty good stuff too. And again, is more for you to think about. And I know there's some people from Man of Steel that are pretty good. But it's not the greatest. I do like Jarrell, and it's just fun, just for fun's sake. But oh yeah, I forgot about my boy Thunder. Okay, Thunder, for all intents and purposes, is Havoc 2.0. For those who remember, like Vet Havoc, except he doesn't do the broke stuff with Energy Explosion. He cranks out a good amount of damage, and then when you combine that with David Kane, it turns into a lot of fun. Another thing, a mechanic that's been overlooked, is capture. And one of the comments talked about breaking out leash just to capture some people, and really, that's a really good idea. And then also, you could combine the leash from the gravity feed with David Kane, but you're really not benefiting as much as you possibly could. So, just being honest with that. Some concepts that I've been sort of floating around in my head lately. First off is, how much does Smoke Cloud really affect my opponent in this new meta? Not only that, we're starting to see a lot more ground pounder rangers, and a barrier of Smoke Cloud that sort of creates a perimeter can stop a lot of grounded chargers, grounded shooters, make them be a bit more frustrated and slow them down. The -1 attack, I think, is more if you're looking at a figure with not with running shot, with ranged combat expert, or you're just trying to slow down somebody with charge. The improved movement element that I've been seeing from characters, that I've been seeing on characters, is a little bit discouraging for the whole Smoke Cloud movement to protect you. But overall, I think there's a lot of good things that can be done with the Smoke Cloud tech. One of the biggest things that I'm looking at is Utility Belt Wildcard in Astral Stranges. And with 2 Astral Stranges, is going to cost you like 26 points. And if you start looking at at two distinct factors, factor number one, Astral Strangers can move slightly a little bit for free as a free action. The second thing is the Astral Strangers can alternate. If you have two of them, they can alternate Smoke Cloud. The third thing you look at is that you end up with 6 Smoke Cloud tokens. So when you stack it all together, you create a very interesting and very tough scenario for your opponent to deal with. Mainly because if you're definitely looking at a post Fear Itself the week afterward, you'll start to notice that a lot of people like bring out their Fear Itself pools, and if you actually have a tournament where it encourages ground pounders, oh yeah, Angrier can't touch you. Well, hold on, let me not quote saying who with a hammer and who can't touch who, but because I don't know, and I know there's a lot of improved movement in that set. So, I mean, that's something to think about. The other thing to think about is this: and I don't know how this is going to turn out. If Superman only affects ignores hindering terrain for line of fire and movement purposes. Because I was wondering if it would get past the negative, get past the penalty, but probably not. But it was just like a random stray thought. The last thing I'm going to sort of leave you, one of the last few ideas I'll leave you with is let's re-examine Morph from Spider-Man again. I would say I got distracted by a lot of things, and I felt that the tech is solid. I've played it once, and that's sort of the frustrating thing, is I've only had a chance to play it once, and it did okay. It didn't power up the way I wanted to. So I would really like to find a way, like in 300 or 400 or even 500, to make that Spider-Man Morph mechanic work, and try to achieve several goals. A, always have a Spider-Man on the field that is the counter to your opponent's team. B, if possible, try to get a 75-point Spider-Man all the way promoted up to an armored Spider-Man. And the last thing is, I want to be able to provide a competitive level of offense. And you're going to say, like, Dark Logos, that's a lot of demands for that team. And I'm like, yeah, but those are things that it's going to have to meet if it's going to be competitive in the modern age. I love Ricochet. I like Hornet. I really do like that Spider-Man from the Gravity Feed. But the problem is that they really, really have problems competing right now. So if it's a TA that they need, or if it's just the fact that we need to pack in a ton of support, what is there? I've talked about the Batmite tech before. I'm just going to say it again a little bit more. Batmite, he pisses me off because of what he does, and I know I went in last week in detail, but Batmite and several characters in particular, Batmite and Ghost Rider, that is not fun. That's not fun to go against, because literally you put your opponent in a position where they can't do anything. Because you can prep time with Ghost Rider, TK out Batmite, move Batmite, summon Ghost Rider, give Ghost Rider a free action to charge because of Batmite, and he charges and flurries if he wants to, and make sure he's in a position to touch 3 of his targets, charge, flurry, kill target 1, kill target 2, exploit weakness using one of your Heroes for Hire things for free, and that's all she wrote. So it's frustrating for me looking at something like Ghost Rider with Batmite, knowing that there is very little that your opponent can do to even stop you, and that there is no penalty. Let me rephrase this. There is no rule in place that stops you from taking a offensive free action, such as attacking, while having 2 tokens with the utility belt. So Oh man, that's really mostly it. Yeah, that's mostly it. If you want, hit me up at startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. That's startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. If you wish to opine, keep it piffy, keep it cool, keep it long. Let me know what's going on. Also, too, if you know anything about Twitch or live streaming and what do I need and encoder-wise and all that other stuff, let me know. Please do hit me up. Also, Joakim Adler, hit me up, man. I want to talk to you about doing another graphic. Not for the podcast. Well, it's for the show, but hit me up, man. I had like cleaned out all my emails because it was bugging me because it said I had 200 emails in my Starting Over podcast account, and I was like cleaning all of you out, and then it's like I lost people's emails. Anyway, hit me up on Twitter at StartOverPod. That's at StartOverPod. It came from outer space, or Asgard, or Dimension X. Who knows? Always, I have stuff. You will always know when the show is up if you follow Twitter. It's a very easy way for you to follow me. Also, if you want to subscribe, please do. But usually YouTube will put me on the bottom of your show list. Anyway, and check out the blog, startingoverpodcast.blogspot.com. And I put up a new blog every Monday, Wednesday, and weekend. I'm trying, people. I know I've been messing some things up, and I'm trying so hard. Some of you also been wondering, like, hey, man, how are you getting so much Fear Itself? Part of it is the venue that I am going to play Fear Itself is a small venue, and they have to buy a lot. And there's not a lot of people showing up. Now, we have had more people show up than normal, but you have 2 cases and 6 people, or even 5 people. Do the math. I mean, really, like you're going to have leftover product. So I buy more product. And I will also say this: if you're looking for a fast turnaround on getting rid of your like commons and uncommons, or just trying to make a profit off of Fear Itself, in all honesty, next month you can buy pretty much a whole set for probably $100, maybe even in $150. And your big money things is going to be Colossus, Kurth, and Angrier. But the prices on those figures are dropping. Like I thought I could flip some of my characters that I bought, because I have sitting at me at this time. I sold on eBay a set of 3 Thule Priest. I have a lot of, let's see, Black Widow and a bunch of other things. Like I got like 3 of the freaking Rise of Cordos. I got 3 Valkyries. I got so many Monkey Kings. It's not even funny. So, anyway, don't think that Fear Itself is going to be a profit scheme. And actually, I would say, if you're not interested in the LE for this month, don't play. Like, I kid you not, just don't play. For you international people, sort of bites if you didn't get your shipment, and I feel for you, dogs. I do know there's some listeners in Russia, so a listener in somewhere in the Middle East, I can't remember right now, and a couple from South America. So big ups to y'all. All right. Anyway, thanks for listening, and thank you for pretty much listening to me rant. I will check y'all later, and remember, we all have to start over sometime.
I'm into comic books, figures on the wall. She's into looking good, Vicky C's got a law. And she loves my flaws, yeah, she's not ashamed. I'm a Peter Parker, she's my Mary Jane. 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 I'm her Peter Parker. She's my Mary Jane. I'm a big nerd around her, but she's cool around me. Never knew how she found me. Electric, but she grounds me. And she loves my flaws. She accepts them all. When the darkness comes, I will get the call. I will swing down to save her.